Rebel Girl F105 coming out like it does every Monday night here on the Rebel Scum Flying Casual live stream. I'm James Razile. We have Andrew joining us today, but before we get to Andrew, we got a very, very special guest. The specialist of guests you could have. He is a champion. His name is Den Allen. Den, thanks for joining us on Flying Casual.
Hi, James. Hi, scumbags.
How's it going?
Whew. Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
It's
been a while.
We apologize for that. It's been too long.
Oh, I've been working.
It's true. And of course, with him is the one that he destroyed. If you haven't seen the Duel of the Fates, spoiler alert, but the one that he destroyed, Andrew Fantasia's here as well.
I still have the tire tracks on my back where Den ran me over with his victory. They'll never go away. How you doing, everybody?
They're doing great. Oh, put me on the screen twice by accident, so I'm going to be switching cameras here. Den, before we get into everything, you, of course, like we just mentioned, kicked his butt at Duel of the Fates, but he's got a new Duel of the Fates coming up with Aaron Quinton. Any advice you have for Aaron and it's been a year and a half, 2 years now since you whooped him. Any things you want to say to Andrew as well?
Yeah, no, looking back on it, I did a dick move, right? So, I got down to the end, I had 3 lifelines left, and I went ahead and let Rob or Darth Ward, win it for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Very Sith thing of me to do, you know? But, I would say advice to Aaron is come in prepared, because even though, Andrew was exhausted that day, he really knew his stuff. So don't take him too lightly. Don't expect an easy win. And if you want some tips on maybe where you can study up and get some pretty good info on the questions, shoot me an email. James, Brock, Andrew, they can provide you with my email, and you shoot me an email, I'll give you a few tips. But it really is harder than they make it seem.
It's good. That's what we're aiming for. Guys, Al Schuler's here, Real Farm Boy, Michael Freeman, I'm just going to shout everybody out now. Josh, Heidi, D Raven, 2Med2, lots of people.
And I think we're not, tied back by a big lag this time, or am I wrong?
Here's what I'm going to say.
Either of you are lagging.
Andrew, I'm going to say this. Do not jinx this, please.
I will not. I will undo the jinx. I'm knocking on so much wood right now.
Don't jinx it. We got a lot to talk. As you say that, you guys all went a little bit blurry. So thanks a lot. Wait, what now? Leaked ending. Thought you didn't do leaks, James. I don't do leaks. That was kind of a joke at the Dead and Nerds topic. But we're going to talk a little bit about that, because if you guys didn't watch Good Morning America, probably because most of you were working or whatever, it was online. I watched a little bit online. And J.J. Abrams let slip that a copy of the script was stolen from a actor or actress from The Rise of Skywalker. It was apparently left under their bed, and a sleazy cleaning person took it. And I say sleazy because you have, come on, what you're doing is indecent. Just imagine you having somebody come in your house and they take something of yours. It doesn't matter if it's a script or not. That's sleazy to me. Anyway, they took it and then they decided to put it on eBay, and it was discovered to be on eBay. Al Schuler's. So they decided to put it on eBay, and it just, he wouldn't say who that actor was. But we're going to put up an image of that actor right now. They have a bit part in it. I don't know if you've seen this, but Ed Sheeran is playing a stormtrooper, and what's his name, Andrew? Your boy from Hamilton is in it as well. Lin-Manuel Miranda is in it. But the person who did steal it, his name is Andrew Fantasia. He's playing Gungan number 4 in the film.
Misa was born to play this role.
Yeah, Real Farm Boy. I was gonna buy the Rise of Skywalker script from Andrew on eBay. So it was Andrew Fantasia stole the script or left the script under his bed.
I actually have it here with me right now. I have the script right here with me, and I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna read you.
You're so blurry right now.
Yeah, here we go. Here's the ending. for The Rise of Skywalker. You ready? Exterior, hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
Poe Dameron rose from the water and said, "Somebody hand me a towel."
That's the ending we were all hoping for.
Glasses on, and The Who starts playing.
Naturally.
The end. Yeah.
Naturally, the Who starts playing.
You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody.
I will buy that script from you for $1,500.
Sounds like a fake story to me. But anyway, like we're joking, we're making jokes. But Den, you're on the screen. I'll start with you. You hear this, that some cast member's like, "Oh, I'll leave this under the bed," and then someone's like vacuuming, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna give this to my friend. They're gonna sell it on eBay." What are your initial thoughts on that whole thing?
Yeah. So the one person who stole it and threw it on eBay, if they read it and they kind of reveal, quote unquote, like reveal spoilers, truth be told, no one would probably believe those spoilers, given it how much we've tried to predict the last two movies and just absolutely failed at every corner. So like if the real script did come out, no one would believe it.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be like, "Oh, that isn't how it's going to end. It's going to be this big battle, and Ghost Luke is going to come in with Ghost Snoke, and like they're going to have war." And oh, you mean a kitty cat's going to come on stage and like meow, and everybody like. I'm not saying that's going to be real either. Like that's pretty far fetched in itself. But like I'm saying, the real events are not going to be something that we're predicting.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Andrew, what about you? What were your thoughts on that?
It's funny because I found out from a voicemail from you, and when you got to
oh, you got the voicemail. Okay, good.
I did get the voicemail, and when you got to the part where you said like they left their script under the bed and the staff found it, I literally reacted as if you were actually talking to me. I was like, oh, "Really?" And then your voicemail continued because that's how voicemail works.
Yes, yes. Well, you were too busy playing Shenmue 3 to pick up the phone at that point.
I was actually editing a video about Shenmue 3, but there'll be more on that later. But yeah, I feel like the leak is like, I don't like them leaks. I don't like hearing spoilers beforehand. I'm not that kind of person. I'm excited. I'm ravenous. We all are. But I don't want to know the plot before I see it, because for me it's like, what's the point? Why am I going to pay to see this? What's the point if I already know what's going to happen? I would love to hear what the leak is after, but right now I'm just a little bit sad that it's out there, because in the wrong person's hands, that could be dangerous. You know, you could have a Snape kills Dumbledore thing where just the wrong person drives by a group of people and is like, guess what? So I hope that doesn't happen.
So Al Schuler's in the chat right now. I was talking to him earlier about this, and I said to him, I want to do a video. I want to do a video a little bit before where we talk about leaks, not into the specifics of the leaks, but like in generalizing the leaks and how he thinks they might affect the movie and the view of people have it. But I want to talk to him after, because he knows all the leaks. I don't know if I'm outing him or not, but he knows all the leaks. So after the movie comes out, I want to have a conversation with him about that, about his experience watching the movie, having known what is going to happen. Dan, you're like me. I think you're staying away from the leaks. Is it because you're afraid that they could potentially ruin your experience, or for other reasons?
Nah, so like, you know, I was all about the leaks going into The Last Jedi. And like the one thing that happened is, you know, I submerged myself in the vlogs, you know, the YouTube videos, the podcasts on Star Wars, and everybody had all these leaks, and a lot of them conflicted with one another, right? So they definitely couldn't all be true. But listening to them all, like, no one predicted, that I listened to at least, exactly how The Last Jedi went. Nobody predicted it. So in my opinion, the leaks are a waste of time. They're probably all incorrect. They're probably all some kind of hyperbolous, what's the word when you just throw things out to the internet? I can't think of the word, but like, it's just everybody's ideas, and they're like, oh, well, they're putting this to make sense, and this is the leak, and I just don't buy it. So why am I going to absorb something that I don't buy into?
Okay, so you don't buy into those, but if you remember the prequels especially, and Heidi just mentioned, I think it was Heidi mentioned the Empire Strikes Back novel. These novels, I remember the prequel novels especially the soundtrack for the Phantom Menace came out like, you know, a week or two before the release of the film. If they were like, okay, guess what? The movie's coming out on December 19th, 20th, but the novelization is coming out on December 10th. Would you pick up the novelization for The Rise of Skywalker? Dan, I'll start with you. The Rise of Skywalker, even though you haven't seen the movie, 10 days before you're about to see it. 9-10 days.
No. I wouldn't.
Because you don't want the movie ruined?
No, it's just that, so like the way Disney sets up the story is, well, yeah, partially, but like the way Disney sets it up is the books are canon until they conflict with the movie, right?
Yeah.
So like I'll just go see the movie and actually get the canon story. If I want to engage my imagination after the movies come out with the extra that comes in the novel, sure. But I want to get the canon story first. It's kind of like watching that episode of Clone Wars where Yoda interacts with that with the spirit of Bane at the tomb, and then you kind of like go back and read Bane. But if you read Bane before that, you're like, oh, it's Bane. It's cool. Like, see what I'm saying? It's like it adds to it. But like, why do you want that before you actually get the canon story?
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew?
First and foremost here, we got a question from Chris King. Chris King's asking, if the leak is huge to the point that we all know about it, does JJ redo the third act from scratch in 3 weeks?
Oh my God.
I wouldn't put it past J.J. Abrams. Any other situation, I'd be like, they don't care, but I would not put it past JJ.
Actually, you know, I have this crazy theory. I have a theory that they're sitting on top of 4 or 5 alternate endings.
Yes. Yeah.
And the one that doesn't get leaked is the one they go with.
Well, we talked to Jeff Wilson a few weeks ago, and he said he heard, and I think other people have heard this as well, that they've shot something, or they have like 8 alternate endings for this film, something along those lines. I don't know if I buy 8. I think they've written multiple endings. So I will say, here's for me in the leaks. I haven't read the leaks obviously, so I don't know what they are. I don't know what craziness is out there. But when I talk to Al or Josh, they're very careful not to tell me anything, but they do say that what they've seen via trailer is kind of confirming the leaks that they've read. So I'm the opposite of you, Dan. I kind of believe that I'm more inclined to believe that they are true, just because I'm also scared. Because if there's any sense of me that's like, it's not going to happen, I will totally read it. I think I don't have the willpower not to. So I like to think they're real anyway. So it kind of scares me in that respect. But at least we're not getting a Phantom Menace soundtrack of Qui-Gon's Noble End. Could you imagine the last track of The Rise of Skywalker? Ben Solo's or Kylo Ren's Noble Redemption.
I can totally see a world where that happened. Jonathan Davis is in the chat. He can't type. He's driving, but he can listen. Hello, Jonathan.
Jonathan's a great guy. Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us on here. Be afraid.
You just made me.
What was that?
You just made me realize the final track of the soundtrack is going to be Darth Vader's Return.
Ooh.
You know what? Can we very quickly, Dan? I want to know you, because I know what Rural Farm Boy is going to say. He's going to hate this one. We're going to do this. Whatever. This is not an Ever Tell Me the Odds, but this I'm going to give you an odds of episode 10 coming within the next 15 years.
15 years? 70%.
So when you say episode 10, you mean like it's connected to the Skywalker saga?
I don't know. Does that mean it's connected to the Skywalker saga, or does that mean that's just the 10th episode of Star Wars? Like, does the Skywalker saga end at 9 and a new one begins at 10? I don't know.
But okay, so are you saying like it will be Star Wars and Disney Lucasfilm will explicitly say this is episode 10.
Well, let's just say this movie ends with Rey surviving, and she is Rey Kenobi for whatever. She's Rey Kenobi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Skywalker saga has ended, and in 15 years, they're like, we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring Rey back with episode 10, and we're gonna have Rey Kenobi, and she is going to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi of this new character called Nuke Skystalker. And it's like a whole new direction, right? So you have a character that we know, but now the Skywalkers are dying. There's a new conflict arising, and we're following these new characters, which is kind of what the sequel trilogy started to be before we reverted back to Skywalkers. But do you think that's a possibility?
I'm going to give it 11%. In the next 15 years. I could see them maybe in 30 years when our trio in the new sequels are getting the grays. They're a little older. I could see it maybe 20, 30 years.
Okay.
15 years, we're going to be talking about how the broom boy is Revan. Like, that's what we're going to be talking about in 15 years.
I'll be down with that. I'm always like, I got nothing to say. Lucas should write episode 10.
Yeah, I think you're right, Michael Freeman. Get Lucas in there somewhere. He's getting pretty old now, but get him in there to be like, yeah, episode 10 is going to be about Ewoks.
Well, you know, there's a huge possibility that they could use his original treatments for the sequel trilogy somewhere down the road and just now make it Skywalkers, make it whatever. If it's all about midi-chlorians and stuff like that, I can't see why they would do it. Josh is saying 84%. It makes sense.
4%, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. James, what you described with Nuke Star Smasher or whatever, that sounds like every 90s Todd McFarlane comic ever. Like if they had gotten him to write Star Wars comics, you're like, well, I want to make it badass and edgy because I'm Todd McFarlane, and so I'll have a guy named Nuke and he'll have chains wrapped around his body. Yeah.
And tattoos on his face.
Yes.
I'd be down for all of that. All of that. Scale of 1 to 10. Den, your excitement for Rise of Skywalker.
14. 14.
Keeping it low, keeping it really low. Andrew, yours is a 0.
On a scale of 1 to 10, my excitement it went down actually. My excitement was at sitting roughly at around 152. But then today, when I found out some news, it kind of bumped down to about 140.
Whoa. What's the news?
Rise of Skywalker is going to be shorter than we thought it was, James.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're off the...
Gonna be
How do I hang up on you without hanging up on Den?
I don't know.
Naturally. It is. Okay, so let's go right into this. The running time now, J.J. Abrams was on Good Morning America, and he goes, I think it's like 2 hours and 21 minutes. You know, the J.J. Abrams neurotic kind of way. So it's 2 hours, 21 minutes, which is 14 minutes shorter than the initial theatrical runtime on all those websites, all the theater websites were saying. Den, are you disappointed by the missing 14 minutes? Are we going to refer to these as the missing 14 minutes?
Missing 14.
The lost 14.
Oh, by the way, your cameras are cutting on their own now based on who's talking, so I don't have to do it anymore. So this is great, Google Hangouts. You're awesome. All right, sorry, Den, go
on. Yeah. So I think as long as he tells a good story, it's concise, and I'm entertained. That's all I can ask for out of Star Wars, right? Is that you've trapped me in that universe one more time, and I'm leaving entertained. I have no doubt that's going to happen. I think that 15 minutes could just be credits. 2 hours and 35 minutes with credits. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everyone forgets that credits are included in a runtime, right? So
yeah.
He might be looking at it without the credits. Who knows?
Yep.
But Andrew, did it actually bum you out that much that we were losing?
Not a lot.
No, I know you wanted this to be 4 hours though.
Yes, I mean, if Chapter 2 gets to be 249, they have no excuse to make the final Skywalker film anything less than that.
Here's why it could be really short, Andrew Fantasia.
Yes.
2 words. The Mandalorian. So good, so short. Length doesn't, like, you want more. Length doesn't always equal quality.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I've gone back to this. Well, Space Jam's only like 82 minutes, and we all love that. But there's with Mandalorian, it's not, it doesn't have all this 40 years of loose ends to wrap up, whereas I feel like this does. And those extra minutes, that extra runtime that we initially thought of, I was like, that makes sense why they're introducing Jaina and Zori and this Pride guy and the Knights of Ren and the Sith and whoever the hell Matt Smith is supposed to be. Like, that makes sense. And top it off, Palpatine, that we have all this time to, come to the forefront. So I just hope that these minutes that we lose.
Okay, now it's working.
So the odds you asked were,
what are the
odds that Palpatine's like screwing with Kylo and Rey with illusions?
Yes.
Yeah, if he's creating his own illusion. All right. Thank you, Josh Nerd Price. Dan, I'll let you think about it because you're a guest, and I don't want to throw you under the bus right away. But Andrew, I have no problem throwing under the bus. I'm going to go also really high at 87%, because I think that's cool, and I think in the trailer it kind of alludes to it, and I think what better way to show that he is the ultimate puppeteer in this saga. He is the Phantom Menace. Let's go right back to that title of the episode 1 where it all, unofficially begins, I guess. It begins with A New Hope, but it really begins with the Phantom Menace, and we see that he is the Phantom Menace. So I got to go high, 87.3967%. Andrew?
Yeah, I think Josh Nerd Price, that's a really good odd, and I think it's high as well. I think Palpatine's the kind of guy who would do that. I can just picture him messing with Vader during their time together and being like, "Oh, look, Vader, it's your wife," and he like makes a fake Padme, and Vader's like, "Oh my god, it's real," and then it turns out it's not real, and he's like, "Fool you." So I can see that happening here with that stuff we've seen of Rey and Kylo on what looks like the Tantive, and they're breaking that rock thing. So I think the odds are good. Let's go with 90%.
All right.
90%.
All right, Dan.
So the question I ask is Palpatine that much stronger than Ben and Rey? Because if he is, how are they going to beat him? And if the two of them together can resist him, then I see them winning. So I think there will be some kind of like hint that he's not only done illusions in Rise of Skywalker, but he's done it in the past. But I'm not feeling as strong about it, so I'm going to say 70%.
Okay.
So still high, still definitely. I think it's a greater chance that it will happen than it won't, but not quite as high as you 3.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how they're going to bring it back. But let's go right into this now. Sith Troopers are a thing. They are red. They are awesome because they're. Miles is going to disagree because they're basically just stormtroopers, but red, which is. I think we've hit a point now where you have the Imperial Guards red, you have Praetorian Guards red, and now you have Sith Troopers which are red, and it's just kind of like they're like, screw it, just make them look like stormtroopers this time. Don't funky them up at all. So here's the thing, and there's I couldn't find it today. I went to the bookstore today, but I couldn't find the book. I think it's a children's book, and it kind of tells you something about the Sith Troopers, and it says that they protect Kylo Ren. They actually protect Kylo Ren. But if you remember way back, San Diego Comic-Con, there was a video, and it was J.J. Abrams talking about Sith Troopers. He goes, "Oh, Sith Troopers." It was the first time they ever really announced Sith Troopers. And he's like, "Oh, Sith Troopers, J.J. Abrams." And then they showed a lineup of troopers, and right beside the trooper was Captain Phasma, and then the Sith Trooper. And I was like, well, are they doing it in order of cool looking or what? So, Dan, I want to go to you on this one. Could the Sith Troopers be clones, and do you think we'll see Gwendolyn Christie back and they're all clones of Phasma?
So I'm going to go in reverse order. I do not think they are clones of Phasma. And I think being Sith Troopers, like, do they pick people who have some sensitivity to Force? Like, so like when I think of Star Wars and how people like interact with the Force, it's like sometimes people are a little Force sensitive, but not like Jedi Sith level. So to me, Han Solo, Poe Dameron, they fit that thing where the Force, they're attuned enough with it to where they're able to do really amazing things. and sometimes the Force uses them in certain ways. Is the dark side using the Sith Troopers in such a way, and are they slightly Force sensitive? Is it a degree? I don't know. But could they be clones? I think they could be, because Kylo Ren's all about clones, right? According to Force Awakens, he was all about those clones. And now that he's the supreme leader, he snaps his finger, it happens, right?
But how long have these clones been around, if they are clones? Fantasia.
Ugh, how long have they been around? Like, God only knows. How long does it take to make a clone? I'm still, when I see a red stormtrooper here, particularly a red First Order trooper, I still think of Cardinal from the Phasma book and from Black Spire. And I thought that initially the idea was there'd be a bunch of like high-ranking captains akin to Phasma who just had different, more striking colors. And we've seen the gold one with Pyre and everything. So that's where I thought they were going to go. But now that we have these Sith Troopers in red, that kind of throws that out the window for me. I think it would be interesting if they were sort of like the next step, like the First Order's answer to Inquisitors. Like they find Force sensitives, and instead of giving them a lightsaber and some, flashy black clothes from American Eagle Outfitters, being like, okay, I'm just going to stick you in this red outfit, but, use whatever Force you have to. You're just a high-ranking Sith Trooper now. I can see that being a thing.
You think that we'll learn more about this Sith Troopers in we might go into spoilers here for Mandalorian. So if you haven't seen The Mandalorian, stop. But Den, do you think that we'll maybe learn how the Sith Troopers became clones from The Mandalorian? They say we're going to learn the beginnings of the First Order in this show.
Maybe, but to be honest, I'm thinking that the cloning that's happening in The Mandalorian is somewhat leading us in a different path. I think we are going to get some hints at the First Order, but it's going to be more in lines of cloning Force users for Sidious's purposes, not necessarily to form a new type of stormtrooper.
What about you, Andrew?
Sorry, what was the question? I'm just on top of the chat here.
On top of the chat, do you think that we'll learn the origins of the Sith Troopers from The Mandalorian?
I think we'll learn something First Order related from The Mandalorian. Whether it's them, I don't think so. I think we'll learn the origins of the Sith Troopers in whatever stuff we get in the future that's going to take place between 8 and 9. I can totally see them doing a comic that takes place in that 1 year, like they've been doing with the ongoing Star Wars, and I feel like that's where we'll learn about them.
Okay, but Andrew, what if the Sith Trooper takes off his helmet, puts it down, and it's nice, shiny, and red, and Miles is there like, oh, it's just a red stormtrooper, and he's all disappointed in it. And I'm like, I'm going to spend all my money on red. And but it comes down, and then you see the long hair, and it's not a man. In fact, it is REY. They're all clones of REY, who was created by Sheevy P. Palps.
That would be frightening. That would be like the cave scene in Empire made flesh. I'd kind of dig that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd buy into that. I'd buy in that hook, line, and sinker. Like that would be cool. But Andrew, to your point, like, so you were saying that you were thinking the Sith Troopers were like kind of the new Inquisitor, right?
Right.
But isn't that the purpose that the Knights of Ren serve?
I think you're probably right. I have no idea where their loyalties lie right now with the Knights of Ren. Like, I don't know if they do work for the First Order or if they have their own thing going on. Are they Palpatine's people? Are they just completely independent of both? They're still such a question mark for me that I've never really assigned them an allegiance yet. They've been this own separate pocket.
Fair.
But for all I know, they bow down to Snoke. Who knows?
Do you guys think we're going to see Snoke again?
I think we'll hear his name.
I
think we'll hear Palpatine be like, "That was me. Surprise."
No, Snoke. You think Snoke was like a literal puppet of Sheev?
I think that makes sense, and it gives him some. Not backstory per se, because we still don't know who that guy was before he got turned into a puppet, but it gives him a reason for existing when he existed, for being a figurehead of power out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. It ties up a lot of Snoke loose ends.
Dan?
I took over Snoke's body, and your lack of vision could never predict it.
By the way, I don't know if anyone watching, I don't know if you can see this on the stream or not. Den is way smarter than both Andrew and I combined. Just looking at his the office, he said we're surrounded by toys, and he has like diplomas and certificates and books. Look at my book. It's a Purge Trooper.
That's your book.
Actually, I do have some books.
Ben's books are all like leather bound.
I have some books though. I'm going to give a shout out quickly to these books. These are Heidi Fetter's books right here. I got them on Lulu.com. Check them out. 3 books right here. Lulu.com. And Dryden is the name of the author. Mm-hmm. Shout out right there. Plug. Oh, that's the Night of Ren. Kobe. That's how I treat my toys. So Sith Troopers. I am very, very intrigued by these characters. Because on one hand, they seem to serve Kylo Ren. On the other hand, we haven't seen much of them. They are in the, spoiler alert, Andrew, they are in the, I think the most recent TV spot. Den, have you been watching the TV spots, or are you staying radio silent like Fantasia?
Yeah, so I don't do cable at all. So the only time I get commercials is when it's like an ad on either YouTube or... Like, that's pretty much
Well,
it.
actually, I think these spots were Twitter and YouTube exclusives, too. I don't even know if they've been on TV, but they're called TV spots.
So, yeah, no, I have not seen anything on, like, I haven't gone out of my way to look for it. I'm like, we're less than a month away.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, yeah, I'm closing myself off like Andrew. Just, I'm ready for the movie. I'm ready for the experience. I'm ready for it to be what it's meant to be, you know?
They put out a clip today, like a flat out clip, and I gotta say I was kind of hesitant to watch it. Then I did, and it was a lot of fun. It didn't give anything at all away. It was just a fun little moment, and it got people on Twitter kind of talking more like not even about speculating what was happening in the scene, because it doesn't matter what's happening in the scene. It was just kind of having fun with the events of it and stuff like that. So I think the marketing by this is just to show Star Wars is fun and to let the fans like us have fun with it. And it's been I think that's been a smart tactic.
What was it, the one where they were like outside the theaters and doing all those news clips of the Star Wars? Because I did see that the Star Wars channel on YouTube dropped that.
That was AMAs, the American Music Awards. Yes. Today was Good Morning America. They showed like a whole, like a scene, like a clip. Like it's I won't say what happens for anyone that doesn't want to know, but it is it's on Pasana, and they're on the skiff, the scare, whatever the hell that thing is, the skiff thing. It's just that it didn't give anything away. Like I said, it's just, you see an extended version of what you've seen in the trailer essentially. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I saw it. I don't want to see any leaks, but if Lucasfilm is going to put something out there right now, I'm like, you know what? This is the last Skywalker saga. I am all in on whatever they want to show me. That's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And
Agreed, Andrew. You're the complete opposite.
Actually, I have a question for the two of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think anything we've seen in the trailers has been a I rebel moment?
Ooh. That's a good question. I feel like there must be something. Whether it's just like a reaction shot of like Finn being like, ooh, or maybe like a certain shot of a ship flying that was superfluous, so they got rid of it. But there's got to be something in there.
When you say that, how do you mean that exactly? Like just like that?
So like it's something in the trailers that we've seen that is just not going to be in the movie. They're going to cut it. They already have cut it, but it's in the trailer still. It's that I rebel moment. Like,
yeah, okay. I don't know if it'll be. I don't know if anything will be not in the movie. There might be a different take of something that's in the movie. So a different camera angle or a different enunciation or something like that. That's what I think more likely. I think they're being very tedious on the images that they show us and what they put in there. And I think because of Rogue One, that's a big deal, is they're like, well, let's make sure what they see is what they get. For me personally, I rebel that moment not being in the movie. I love that the trailers didn't show me what I was walking into, because I like watching something new every time. So I'm okay with it. Yeah, I keep forgetting that line isn't in the movie. That's the funny part, is I actually forget that it's not in there. And it's such an iconic line for that film too. That's what's crazy about it.
Yep.
I'll always associate the I Rebel line with Kevin Smith, because I love listening to him react to Star Wars and talk about it and stuff. And he was talking about Rogue One, and when he got to the part of, like, when he's describing Jyn Erso, he's like, you know, it's the girl from the trailer who's like, it's a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
You know, maybe they made the right choice by cutting that out. Who knows? Everybody wants to see the deleted scenes and like the original cut of that film, and I'm like, keep that as far away from me as possible. I enjoy Rogue One. I don't want to see what crap they had, because it wasn't very good. That's what everybody's forgetting, is the reason why they didn't use it is because it probably wasn't very good. Like, individually, the moments and the shots might have been beautiful, but as a collective, it was probably bland and something that we do not want to watch.
Well, was it Solo? The original directors were making a comedy movie, so they got fired.
Yeah, that was Solo.
So I want to see the comedic version of Solo. I want to see Han Solo juggling and like spitting fire. Like, that's what I want to see.
I actually wouldn't mind watching the Alden Ehrenreich Ace Ventura style performance that they said he was giving in the original edit of it. That I would actually want to see, even if it's terrible. I would really love to see Han with Chewie, but as Ace Ventura would be incredible. I'd be all.
There's the scene where he talks to Beckett out of his butt.
Or, he crawls out of a AT-AT and it looks like the AT-AT is like pooping him out.
He loses all his clothes inside, so he has to come out all naked.
I gotta give a shout out. Misconduct's in the chat, and Charlie Skywalker's here. Hello, everybody. Mm-hmm. So Sith Troopers, let's go back to the Sith Troopers. We talked, maybe they're clones of this, maybe they're clones of that, maybe they're clones of Jar Jar. That's been tossed around in the chat for real, I think. Everybody's serious about that one. But what are the chances that we're not even going to find out what the deal with these Sith Troopers are, and they're just going to be these red stormtroopers that may or may not be presented to us as Sith Troopers in the actual film, but they'll just appear and we'll know by appearance and maybe the guns they're holding that they are superior to the regular stormtroopers? Or is there a chance that we'll see at least one of them use the Force?
There's okay, to answer that, let me ask you something quickly, James. The thumbnail for this chat, you have the Sith Troopers standing in front of the stormtroopers. Did you, is that constructed? Did you make that, or is that an actual still from the film?
I can't tell you.
Okay, because if it's an actual still from the film, then what we've got is a close-up of one of these guys. And when we get these new troopers, whether they're the Executioner ones from Last Jedi or the Snow Troopers from Empire Strikes Back, whatever, they're always very fleeting. We see for like half a second what they do, and then it just for us, the audience, to absorb, oh, okay, these ones have a flamethrower. Oh, okay, these ones wear all black and they speak differently. Okay, and then that's it, and it doesn't really linger on them. So if this is a case where we finally get lingering, then I think it'll have to be something significant like using the Force. So yes, I think that'll be what they do. If they're just there in the background to be like, I'm a little bit tougher than a regular stormtrooper, which is usually the case with these guys, then I don't think the Force will be with them.
Dan?
I think we're going to immediately know who they are, because of when they talk, they're going to be like, the Force doesn't work on me, only money.
Brilliant.
Why are all those red troopers hovering slightly?
Oh my god. I hope we get to see them use some Force. I wouldn't mind a stormtrooper. I love stormtroopers, and a stormtrooper using the Force is something that I'm totally in on, 100%.
But where I was going with that was, like, what if they've chosen people who are, like, immune to the Force? to be Sith Troopers.
Oh, okay.
That would
Maybe there's a species out there who's immune to like the Force manipulation and like all that.
Yeah, I would really dig that.
Well, they do kind of like when we learn about the Force, it's always on the weak-minded, right? You can only use it on the weak-minded, and you know, for Watto is a Toydarian, so that doesn't count. But like Jabba, it doesn't work on Jabba. It only works on the weak-minded and stormtroopers. If you know whether or not they're clones or they're stolen at birth or childhood, and they're basically brainwashed, they would be weak-minded. So the Force would be easy to use on them. But yeah, if you have Sith Troopers who come from a different part of the galaxy or something, or all Toydarians, then yeah, that would be that'd be really that's a lot of money on blue makeup though.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool to see. I don't know if they could throw that in this movie. The other thing we have this is the 9th movie in 42 years, and they got to wrap these 9 up. I don't know if we could throw it. Well, you could throw it, but then you have to kind of I think you just have to say, to your idea there, Den, is if they are immune, they just have to be like, these are the strongest willed troopers we have. They are immune to the Force or something along those lines. Like, they won't work. I'm gunning for, if they are not clones of Rey, I am not watching this. What if they're clones of Kylo?
Just a stereophonic chorus of "but I do."
Maybe that's why they have such easy Force escapes, because the Sith Troopers are all around and they kind of all like telepathically put these images in Rey. But I do. Look at my pecs.
Why am I always wet?
Prepare my ship. But I do. I love Kylo Ren. I don't even care. His voice is the best. But I do.
When they make more video games and like Adam Driver is too good to be in them, call James.
Yeah.
You hear that, Luke starts, call James.
I could do just as good a job as some of the voice actors they've gotten for the video games. Easily. Den, you finished Jedi Fallen Order recently.
Yep.
Okay. So I have not. I'm very bad at it. I switched to story mode because screw you, skill set. And so I'm playing it. I haven't had much time to play it. But without spoilers, if you can, you said you think there's a possibility that game will tie into Episode 9. And I got to be honest with you, you are not the first person who has beat the game to tell me that. Is there any way you could talk about that without ruining my life?
Yes. So I'm going to talk about it in such a way that I'm going to not talk about Fallen Order at all.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to go back to Clone Wars and Rebels. There are these assets, for lack of a better term, that the Emperor has wanted to get his hands on from the era of the Clone Wars through the era of Rebels. And now Jedi Fallen Order makes it clear that Sidious and Vader want the same type of assets. And I hope I'm being vague enough. And so I think the Sith Troopers are not where we're going. I don't think they're necessarily the Inquisitor based, like you were saying, Andrew. I really don't, because of the game. And that's the reason I'm not leaning that way. And I'm thinking that Inquisitor thing may be more Knights of Ren. And I do think that there might be a particular person or thing, or maybe the Inquisitors we've already seen are cloned to be Sith Troopers. And maybe there's something that happens with cloning where you're not as strong in the Force, or maybe you're not Force sensitive at all. I don't know. But like, I feel like that where they originally wanted, like, I feel like Sidious wanted an army of Force users to command and control. That's what he wanted, because he's the apex.
Right.
Yoda couldn't even defeat him in a one-on-one battle. He is the apex of Force users in this universe, in this era. So it doesn't matter who he created, as long as he didn't create a pure Anakin Skywalker again, he's not really threatened. Unless, maybe that's what Rey is.
Andrew?
Yeah. See, I know what you're talking about in terms of these assets, Dan. I know exactly what you're talking about there. And I think that you are pretty much right on the money as it refers to, what these guys could be. And it makes sense considering what we know about the First Order and their methods of building themselves up. What interests me, or not really interest, that's probably the wrong word, but what the thing that keeps coming to my mind, and maybe this is just I'm overthinking and it's just a design thing and I should let it go, but to me the Sith Troopers, I have a hard time connecting them to Palpatine, just because they don't look like Imperial troopers, they look like First Order troopers. And unless Palpatine was actively like involved in the First Order since day one, which he very well could be, then my brain always connects the Sith Troopers, just because of how they look, to like Kylo, Snoke, the people who we know have been doing First Ordery things. So if there's like some kind of thing where it's like Palpatine was involved from day one, then yeah, absolutely. But I always have to, that's like a speed bump in my head that I always have to get over. Like there's a fine line that I keep drawing between the Empire's look and the First Order's look. And if I can get over that, I can definitely see Palpatine being more present with them. But right now he always he's removed from them for me.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go on, Dan.
Okay. So for me, he's not at all removed. For me, the First Order is the new Separatists, right?
Ooh, okay.
Dooku was in charge of the Separatists. Palpatine was pulling the strings. The Sith were still in charge.
Mm-hmm.
The Sith ruled both sides. No doubt, for me, the First Order's the same way. Sidious is up to his old games again.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Or he's like whispering in some other party's ear, making them think it's all their idea. Why don't you try to stop the New Republic? And I'll just sit here and finance you every once in a while. Yeah, that totally works for me.
Just on the chat.
Michael Freeman, I could also listen to you talk about watching grass grow, sir. Thank you.
Andrew, why don't you talk a little bit about grass growing in the Star Wars universe?
Well, you see, nobody noticed this at first, but in Rey's AT-AT house, when she's cooking her food, she also has buried deep in the background in the shadows, you really need like an 8K TV to see it. She has a chia pet.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Actually, Jedi Fallen Order does have a terrarium.
Oh my god.
It does. Yeah. I couldn't figure out if there's anything you can do with it other than just literally watch the grass grow, but I filled it up.
Yep.
You guys are saying in the chat that Kylo was in a Sith. We've heard that once Vader and Sheevy were killed, there were no more Sith in the galaxy. We have been told repeatedly that Kylo Ren and Snoke are not Sith. But why are there Sith troopers guarding Kylo Ren? Is Kylo Ren not a Sith? Will he become a full-fledged member of the Sith Union in Troz?
I don't think he will.
Because Adam Driver doesn't want to wear the contacts.
Yeah, that. And I feel I'm also like wary about them because I feel like if a character became a Sith in this movie, just because of the way they've been doing things with the Disney thing, I feel like they would not have that character be called Darth something. I feel like it would just be like, I'm Kylo Ren, but I'm also a Sith. And like, I feel like if you're going to adhere to Sith, if you're going to stay with that sort of dogma of the Sith, you should, don't be like what Alfred Molina in Da Vinci Code calls a cafeteria Catholic. Don't pick and choose what rules you want to follow in your religion. Like if he's going to be Sith, he better get the Darth name. He's got to go full on Sith. And I don't see a world where we create a new Darth in this movie.
I don't think he's going to adopt the name Darth, but I definitely think he's going to be like, grandfather, I'm going to be just like you. because I love you. You want to go play catch? Yay! And he will become Sith in everything but the name. And I think actually, given Kylo's personality, he probably will pick and choose which rules he wants to follow, because he is Kylo Ren. You know, stabbed his dad in the heart, Kylo Ren.
Stabbed his dad in the heart. Andrew, they have some questions about SheVP in the chat. You got a video coming up, a Patreon exclusive, December 10th. Why don't you tell everybody about that quickly? And maybe the contest as well. Go for it.
That's right. Yeah, December 10th, I have a new episode on Patreon of Good Will Hunting, which is basically like your own personal Wikipedia, but from our mouths to your ears. And the episode that's going to be going up in December is about SheVP himself. I was very excited when James said make the next episode about him, because he was my favorite and I couldn't wait to get around to it. And it's probably my favorite episode I've made of the show and of many shows that we do here on the channel so far.
I've been editing it, and your perspective pisses me off.
Thank you.
No, it's fine. It's a good way. I like the way you told it was very well done. I've been enjoying cutting it to shreds, cutting it up. I did replace your dialogue with Yoda at one point. That's a spoiler. I did do that.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's for the best, I think. I'm still laughing over the when in the Mandalorian episode where you added I talked about a way of life and you added the Folgers commercial. That really that killed me.
I don't know. You said that, and I was
we'll
my like 1990 boyhood was like, I need the Folgers spot. Bring it in.
There's a song, I think it's an NSYNC song, and my friend David Schilling, you've met him, we were listening to music one day and this song came on and I had never heard it in my life, and there's a part in the song where NSYNC goes, I promise you I will be true, and it sounds exactly like the lead up to Folgers in Your Cup. And David said, Folgers in your cup, and I was like done for the 24 hours straight. That's all I was thinking of. But we also have a contest coming up in December as well. I can't remember the exact date that we do the draw. James can remind me of that. The 18th, thank you. And you can win a sexy Rise of Skywalker art book, the art of the movie. If you've seen those books, they're about yay long. They're not these little thin things. These are big papas. You need a deep bookcase for this, okay? And it's all the wonderful, glorious art. So we're probably going to see concept art of SheVP's zombified body, maybe?
Well, it comes out right before the movie, so hopefully there's no spoilers in there. Maybe there's a ton of spoilers. And actually, it comes out the day of. I think the 20th is the release date for that. So that'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. But no, if you want to know everything you need to know about SheVP, and I don't think there's anyone better to tell that story than Andrew Fantasia, because that is his favorite character in the Star Wars universe. But at the same time,
we have a good question here. Sorry, we have a quick question from Jonathan Davis, who's asking, did you guys get Secrets of the Jedi book? He says he didn't buy it, but there's a lot of cool add-on cards inside. That's that one with the nice pictures that I remember you sent me, and I haven't even seen it yet in bookstores. Did either of you guys see it?
Yeah, I think that one's the one from Luke's point of view or something.
Yeah.
Like he's breaking down. Yeah. No, but there is another YouTube channel who like covers each section of it. I've been watching those.
Okay.
Do they explain Star Wars?
No, it's Star Wars Theory.
Okay. That was my second guess. They theorize Star Wars. I want to get that book. I haven't seen that one in the bookstore either. Good old Canada, bringing the goods to all of us here on it. But we got a lot of fun stuff going on. Love talking Sith Troopers, because Stormtroopers are my favorite characters, and that's why I chose this biased topic for today. Look, I think at the end of this, I don't think we're going to learn that they are, if they are in fact clones, which I still think is very possible. I don't think we'll learn that they're clones of anybody that we know. It would kind of be cool if they were still clones of Jango, but I highly doubt that as well. But then you think, if you had to bet money on it, who are the Sith Troopers clones, or are they just random kids picked up throughout the galaxy?
If I had to put money on one or the other, I would say that they are probably clones somehow.
All right. Fantasia?
Just off the top of my head, I would say they're all Pedro Pascal. And that Dr. Pershing guy is going to work some clone magic. He's got some syringes, and he's like, whoa, whoa. And next thing you know, Mandalorian clones everywhere.
Actually, you know what? I am curious if this could tie into the Mandalorian, because a lot of me thinks that these are very separate entities. Like they are in Star Wars, but they're separate from each other, and they're not really going to intertwine. But there's another part of me that says, well, why not? Like Jon Favreau went into this, he knows what's going on. Dave Filoni knows what's going on. The story group knows what's going on, and J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy, everybody knows what's going on. Michelle Rejwan, they all know. So if you have a chance to intersect something, why not do it? We saw with Solo that fans love that. You know, you throw in like little tidbits of canon here and there, the little Easter eggs. Fans go gaga for that. So if there's a way to tie the Mandalorian into the Rise of Skywalker, why not do it?
Yeah,
I would argue that it might already have been tied in.
Yeah, you never know. There's so much that could have been in there that we don't know yet.
Have any of you looked for Mando's ship in the trailer?
I've heard that it's in there. I've seen people point out that there is a similar ship in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, really quickly, like we don't have to spend too much time on this, but there's something about Jedi Fallen Order that I wanted to bring up. I don't think this is a spoiler, but just in case, I'll keep it spoiler-free as possible. Dan, have you heard the stuff where there's the stuff? Great words, Andrew. Have you heard the sort of chatter that in Jedi Fallen Order there is a very prominent explanation as to what planet Starkiller Base was before it became Starkiller Base?
No.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil that for people who haven't played the game, because when you go visit this planet, it's sort of like at the 11th hour, and they don't they make it like a big deal.
Oh, you mean? Okay, I think I know where you're going with this. I haven't heard chatter about it, but I think I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Is it the same planet that we saw in Clone Wars?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going.
Yeah, so there's a rumor that, and the more I've read about it, the more I'm like, okay, I think this is true, that this planet, which is familiar to most fans, is in fact what became Starkiller Base.
No way.
I think I commented way back when Force Awakens came out on one of your episodes that I thought that planet might be Starkiller Base.
I think so. And apparently, if you visit the planet a second time in the game, you can see traces of what it will become. You can see sort of from far away that it looks like something is happening to the equator of this planet.
I know where I am going on that game as soon as we get off of this.
We're gonna keep you for a long time now. I can't wait. I can't wait to play the game further than I have. I'm gonna have to clear my schedule and do something. I'm taking Thursday off. No, Thursday. I'm in Canada, so I don't get Thursday off. This is the first year in 15 years I will be working on Thanksgiving. I'm very sad. Last year I celebrated. I had a giant Thanksgiving dinner on American Thanksgiving. Because Andrew, you know I'm very patriotic.
Yeah.
I actually am. We should move there, Andrew. Mm-hmm. And we should all have a meetup. Everybody in the chat right now. And we should all hang out in what city? What state?
Let's move to like Kansas, because it's centralized, so it's not too far from anybody. And then everybody can.
No, because isn't the weather fluctuates too much there, right? Isn't it like
Colorado's better?
There's lots of tornadoes.
I just talked to yesterday. I just actually did an Outlander Club with David Jesse from Tatooine Sons from Colorado also. So good skiing over there. I'm on my way to Colorado.
Deal.
Enter our show now.
Ohio gets a lot of love. Andrew just went to Ohio last year.
I did, yeah. I drove to Ohio last August to do some filming with one of our fans, Mr. Jericho Kane. We did. He's doing a solo fan film, and I got to be in it. So I got to drive down to Ohio. I got to pass through a bunch of states. It was a nice little road trip.
Yeah, and you were alone, which is always. Oh, cut to me again. No, Andrew. Okay, losing it. Let's see what our. No, we're good. I'm not. I mean, I've just lost my mind. other than that. All right, let's wrap this up. It's been a lot of fun, as per usual, doing the live stream with everybody here, talking Star Wars with us. It always means a lot to us. It's always a great time. We look forward to this. I don't know why Andrew keeps coming back, but I look forward to it every single Monday, hearing the live chat. Today was awesome with Den joining us on the side. Den, anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, just like I appreciate the Rebel Scum podcast so much. Like, I drive an hour and a half one way to get to work, and I have to drive that hour and a half to get back. So, like, a lot of my days, it's just plug in Patreon into my auxiliary cable because I'm old school like that. Listen to the podcast on my way to work every day. This is still like my favorite Star Wars channel by far on the internet. Like, it is. Yeah, just keep it up. Keep it up. It's really fun. It's really exciting. Love listening to it. And thanks for having me on here again.
Thank you. I'm glad that your schedule, because 2 years ago when you were on, your schedule was really crazy. And I was like, do you want to come back on? You're like, I'm never available. But now you are, and it was awesome to have you on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we could make your commute fun and enjoyable. I do the same thing. My work is about almost an hour from me. So I plug in stuff, whether it's our show or I like to listen to James Bond podcast. So, you know, something to fill the time.
Andrew also has a personal podcast where it's just him reading the dictionary, and he listens to that back and forth. Yeah. So Michael Friedman will get you a copy of that podcast.
Actually, Andrew, I do enjoy watching your movie critiques as well.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy making those too. They're fun. They're fun to do.
All right. Speaking of which, Andrew, plug it.
That's right. It's the Andrew Fantasia YouTube channel. And I'm doing, as Den just said, I do movie critiques. I do TV show critiques. I've been doing Watchmen, the series, and His Dark Material series from BBC. I've been doing both of those. I'm going to be doing a review of The Crown Season 3 very soon, and Knives Out as well.
Did you see Knives Out yet?
Not yet, but that'll be my next movie.
Yeah, hopefully it's better than your opinion of Frozen 2.
Yeah. What a craptacular opinion that was. I don't think that video tracked well anyway.
Nobody's doing videos in thick. All right, Den, thank you very much. Andrew, thank you very much. If you guys want to follow me, whatever. I'm boring. I just like talking Star Wars, but thanks a lot, guys. It really does mean a lot to us. You can check us out on the Patreon page. You could be a guest in these, and you could be in our contest. I don't know. We like doing stuff, and we're doing a lot more positive Patreon exclusive stuff too, which is a lot of fun. I don't know if Jen's watching any of them because I'm not. Andrew's usually in them, so. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, may the force of others be with you.
Often.
Always.
Light comes when